Most people assume that if you want a decent view of a distant hawk or a target at the range, you have to lug around a piece of gear that weighs as much as a small boulder. That is exactly where this little setup tries to change the narrative. It is surprisingly light, and honestly, that is the first thing you notice when you pull it out of the bag. You are not going to feel like you are carrying a heavy anchor on your back during a long hike, which is a massive win for anyone who actually spends time outdoors rather than just talking about it. The optics here are pretty impressive for the size. Nikon went with their multi-coated eco glass, and it shows. The image stays sharp, and the colors don't look washed out, even when you are pushing that zoom toward the higher end. Speaking of the zoom, having it integrated right into the eyepiece makes things so much smoother. You can scan a wide area to find your subject, and then just twist to dial in the details without having to fumble with extra parts. It feels intuitive, and for someone who just wants to see the bird or the target without a physics degree, that is exactly what you want. Now, here is the reality of the situation. Because it is so compact, you are working with a 60mm objective lens. It is great for daylight, but if you are trying to spot wildlife at dusk or in really heavy shade, you might find yourself wishing for a bit more light-gathering capability. That is just the trade-off for portability, though. You cannot have a massive lens and a featherweight body at the same time. The build quality feels solid enough to handle a bit of rough treatment. It is nitrogen purged and sealed up tight, so if you get caught in a sudden downpour or the humidity spikes, you don't have to panic about the internal glass fogging up. That peace of mind is worth a lot when you are out in the middle of nowhere. The included tripod is a nice touch to get you started, though if you are planning on doing some serious, long-term observation, you might eventually want to upgrade to something a bit more robust. The flip locks on the legs are quick, which is handy, but it is definitely designed for someone who values a lightweight kit over a heavy-duty studio setup. It is a straightforward, no-nonsense piece of equipment. It does not try to be a high-end professional telescope that costs as much as a used car, and it doesn't pretend to be a toy either. It sits in that sweet spot for the hobbyist who wants clear, reliable optics that won't weigh them down. If you're looking for something that you can just toss in your pack and forget about until you need it, this is a really solid contender. It is not perfect, but for the price and the convenience, it is hard to argue with what it brings to the table.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.